So let's start with setting up of scholarships. So let's take a look at our Herman and Carrie Watson scholarship here. And I'm just going to go in to edit to show you how a scholarship is set up. Again, we have an import tool that will enable you to import the data from your current spreadsheets into ScholarshipUniverse, so that'll minimize on your data entry. So the first field here, the name of the scholarship. Next, the organization that it belongs to, so all of your different departments, colleges, organizations, as we just mentioned earlier, would be here, and you would map it to which organization manages that scholarship. What cycle does this belong to? And since I've mapped this as something that's going to be open in the future, I'm asked whether or not the scholarship should be visible before the cycle opens. We have two different application methods. The first one is direct award. And with direct award, students don't actually have to apply for the scholarship. So for those admissions-based scholarships that you have, students will be auto-matched. So what we'll do is bring in your student information system information, your SIS data, and pre-populate those matching questions for you, and then deliver a roster of students who are eligible based on your eligibility criteria. And you can then use SmartRank, our ranking scheme, to prioritize who you're going to award those scholarships to. So again, with direct award, those are the scholarships students don't actually have to apply for. We'll auto match them based on your eligibility criteria. If there is an application that's required, you can specify which application is associated with that scholarship. So again, the way that we think of applications is just that additional requirement that students would need to submit in order to differentiate themselves or provide additional information, such as a letter of recommendation, a portfolio, samples of work, etc. We consider what you saw on the student side, that initial part where they're being matched and answering those interview questions, the initial part of applying for a scholarship. So a student never has to repeat the information that they've already provided or information that we already know about them. If this is a donor-based scholarship, we can put the name of the donor in here, and information about that donor will appear for the student on their scholarship list. What award year it's associated with, which terms are the scholarship, is the scholarship dispersed over. So it can be a single disbursement or multiple disbursements. You can also cap the number of applicants that you'd like to take for a particular scholarship, and it will shut it off even if the review deadline hasn't arrived yet. Some scholarships do require an active acceptance. So in other words, those admissions-based scholarships, they do need to tell you they're coming and they're accepting the scholarship, so you can just toggle that on. If it's a donor-based scholarship, you may require a thank you letter, for example. So when I turn this on, I also have the option to specify whether somebody needs to approve that thank you letter. And if a thank you is required, it'll ask me what thank you template do you want to use. So you can configure different thank you templates for your different scholarships or your different departments. You have the option to display contact information for a specific scholarship and set up your phone codes here. And this is how this would map over to your student information system and your general ledger. How much money is available in the scholarship? This is not a required field. So at the beginning of the scholarship cycle, if you're not sure yet how much you're going to have in there, you can populate this later. The number of awards that are available under the scholarship fund. And then you'll notice that the amount displayed is a text field. So if it varies or if it's something that covers tuition and fees, for example, you can put that, or you can put a dollar amount in or a range. We do support renewable scholarships. So if I toggle this on, it'll ask me the maximum number of renewals. So if it's a 4-year scholarship, it would be 3 renewals that the student would be eligible for. And we do support that process, so we would be able to roll over your renewable scholarships, again, bring in the information that's necessary for the student to remain eligible for that scholarship and allow you to monitor that and decide who is eligible for renewal. the description as it appears to the student. And then we also have these additional fields. They're really internal fields that allow you to put some additional information about donor specifications or awarding priorities that you may not want to display to the student. And then we provide a check back date. So it's just a tickler to remind you when you need to take a look at this again or roll over the scholarship, for example. So on the second tab, we're going to go ahead and put in the matching requirements. So this is where you bring in your eligibility requirements. Very easy to set these up. In this case, it's looking at residency. I can very easily add a question here, such as GPA. So you'll see that when I just type in GPA, it'll bring up all of the questions in the bank that we delivered to you that reference GPA. So I can use one of the questions that are in here, or I can also create my own question. I'm just going to say, what's your cumulative GPA? And then the operator matches what type of question it is. So in this case, we can say greater than or equal to 3.0 and go ahead and save that. And you can do OR scenarios as well. So if I want to copy this, I can do an OR scenario here where I add some additional criteria. So this can be very granular in terms of getting down to really nitty-gritty details in terms of whether students would qualify for a particular scholarship. And again, this would be the eligibility qualifications that are seen by your student.